नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेष्वभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवत्युत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नन्दनाय च नंदगोपकुमाराय गोविंदाय नमो नमः। हरे कृष्णा। रीडिंग फ्रॉम Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Canto 4, Chapter number 7, chapter entitled The Sacrifice Performed by Daksha, text number 17. Please repeat. Vaishnavam yajna santatyai Trikapalam Bijottamaha Purodasham Niravapan Veera Samsarga Shuddhaye. Vaishnavam Yajna Santatyai Trikapalam Dvijottamaha Purodasham Niravapan Veera Samsarga Shuddhaye. Vaishnavam Yajna Santatyai Trikapalam Dvijottamaha Purodasham Niravapan Veera Samsarga Shuddhaye. Vaishnavam Yajna Santatyai Trikapalam Dvijottamaha Purodasham Niravapan Veera Samsarga Shuddhaye. Vaishnavam Yajna Santatyai Trikapalam Dvijottamaha Purodasham Niravapan Veera Samsarga Shuddhaye. Vaishnavam Yajna Santatyai Trikapalam Dvijottamaha Purodasham Niravapan Veera Samsarga Shuddhaye. Matajis. Vaishnavam Yajna Santatyai Trikapalam Dvijottamaha Purodasham Niravapan Veera Samsarga Shuddhaye. What word meaning? Vaishnavam meant for Lord Vishnu or his devotees. Yajna sacrifice. Santatyai for performances. Trikapalam three kinds of offerings. Dvijottamaha the best of the Brahmanas. Purodasham the oblation called Purodasha. Niravapan offered. Veera Veerabhadra and other followers of Lord Shiva. Samsarga contamination. Dosha due to his touching. Shuddhaye for purification. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Abhay Charna Ravinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation. Thereafter, in order to resume the activities of sacrifice, the Brahmanas first arranged to purify the sacrificial arena of the contamination caused by the touch of Veerabhadra and the other ghostly followers of Lord Shiva. Then they arranged to offer into the fire the oblations known as Purodasha. Purport. Lord Shiva's followers and devotees, headed by Veerabhadra, are known as Veeras, and they are ghostly demons. Not only did they pollute the entire sacrificial arena by their very presence, but they disturbed the whole situation by passing stool and urine. Therefore, the infection they had created was to be first purified by the method of offering Purodash oblations. A Vishnu Yajna or an offering to Lord Vishnu cannot be performed uncleanly. To offer anything in an unclean state is called a Seva Parad. The worship of the Vishnu deity in the temple is called Vishnu Yajna. In all Vishnu temples, therefore, the priest who takes care of the Archana Vidhi must be very clean. Everything should be always kept neat and clean, and the foodstuffs should be prepared in a neat and clean manner. All these regulative principles are described in the Nectar of Devotion. There are 32 kinds of offenses in discharging Archana service. It is required, therefore, that one be extremely careful not to be unclean. Generally, whenever any ritualistic ceremony is begun, the holy name of Lord Vishnu is first chanted in order to purify the situation. Whether one is in a pure or impure condition, internally or externally, if one chants or even remembers the holy name of Supreme Personality of Godhead Vishnu, one immediately becomes purified. The Yajna area was desecrated by the presence of Lord Shiva's followers, headed by Veerabhadra, and therefore the entire arena had to be sanctified. Although Lord Shiva was present and he is all auspicious, it was still necessary to sanctify the place because his followers had broken into the arena and committed so many obnoxious acts. That sanctification was possible only by chanting the holy name of Vishnu, Trikapala, which can sanctify the three worlds. In other words, it is admitted herein that the followers of Lord Shiva are generally unclean. They are not even very hygienic. They do not take baths regularly, they wear long hair, and they smoke ganja. Persons of such irregular habits are counted amongst the ghosts. Since they were present in the sacrificial arena, the atmosphere became polluted, and it had to be sanctified by Trikapal oblations, which indicated the invocation of Vishnu's favor. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Om ajnanatimirandhasya jnananjana shalakaya chakshurunmilitam yena tasmai Shri Gurave namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam sthapitam yena bhutale swayam rupah kadamahyam dadati swapadantikam vandeham Shri Guroho Shri Yuta padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamsha Namaam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratvishe Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhano Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. So today we are discussing from Canto 4, Chapter 7. This is text number 17. So I seek blessings of all the devotees to speak something worthwhile on this topic, especially His Grace Akhila Prabhu. Okay, so here we see Prabhupada is touching various themes in his purport based on the context that is going on currently. After Lord Shiva was satisfied and pacified by prayers of Daksha, then Daksha continued the yajna. So first they needed to consecrate the yajna that was desecrated, it was polluted. So now it needed to be again purified. So that's why they decided to offer this Purodasha offering for Lord Vishnu. Yajna Santatyai means that in order to continue the yajna that had stopped, now they wanted to continue. So what they did for continuation, Veera Samsarga Shuddhaye, it was important that the contamination caused by Veerabhadra and his followers, that needed to be removed. So that's why they Purodasham Niravapan, all these best of the Brahmanas, they offered this Purodasha offering, Trikapalam. It is offered in 3 vessels. So it's basically an offering for Lord Vishnu, and it is offered so that all the contamination can be removed. They did not do any prayashchitta separate or something, atonement by worshipping some other demigod. No. Just by worshipping Lord Vishnu through this Purodash offering, all the contamination, all the fault of the yajna would be taken away. So that's what they decided to do. So Prabhupada speaks about followers of Lord Shiva. So he says that here they are Veeras, here like headed by Veerabhadra, and then they are usually ghostly demons who spoil the sacrifice here. So Lord Shiva can be worshipped in 2 ways. Shastras describe Lord Shiva is worshipped by right hand tantra and left hand tantra. So there is Dakshina Tantra and there is Vama Tantra. So when Lord Shiva is worshipped by the right hand Tantra, Tantra is basically a method of worship. There are 3 vidhis in the scriptures. There is a Tantrika vidhi, there is Pancharatrika vidhi, and there is a Vaidika vidhi. These are 3 vidhis of worship. So Vaidika vidhi is the vidhi or the process by performing sacrifices. You worship the Lord or you worship a particular demigod by performing sacrifices. That is called Vaidika vidhi, Karma Kand. Then there is another vidhi called as Tantrika vidhi. So Tantrika vidhi is also the vidhi by which you worship, but it is focused less on the rituals, it is focused more on other aspects like mudras. Tantrika vidhi involves a lot of mudras. So if you have seen the Tantrika worships and all that, and it is also considered a bit ghastly, especially the left hand tantra, Vama tantra. And then Pancharatrika vidhi is the one which we follow as Vaishnavas, as followers of Lord Vishnu. So we worship the Lord with Pancharatrika vidhi. So which involves mantras, which involves rituals, which involves bija mantras, all different processes. Holy name, it's also, holy name is included in that process. So Lord Shiva, when he is worshipped with right hand tantra, Dakshina tantra, then that path is considered very auspicious. And those are the worshippers of Lord Shiva who are not ghastly, who are not unclean. They are the worshippers who are very clean. They are mostly Brahmanas, Shaiva Brahmanas. They worship with that Dakshina tantra. And then they worship Shiva Lingam, with very auspicious items, with very pure items, clean items. Lord Shiva is worshipped by mantras, Lord Shiva is worshipped by offering all these pure objects. So that is known as the path of Dakshina Tantra. But there is this Vama Tantra, a left hand Tantra, which has this very ghastly kind of worship of Lord Shiva. So all these different kind of worships of Veerabhadra or Bhairava, or even his consorts like Mahakali or like that. Smashan Bhairava, there are many Bhairavas, different forms of Lord Shiva which are very ghastly. And they are the ones which are worshipped by, ghosts and, all these ghostly followers. They are the ones which are worshipped also by very inauspicious articles. Like we see that, like flesh and, fishes and wine and, many of these things. Like that. So they are this left hand tantra worship is like that, this way. So Prabhupada is basically referring to the left hand tantra worship, which is quite prominent worship of Lord Shiva in that particular manner. So these personalities like Veerabhadra and all the followers, ghostly demons, bhutas, pretas, pishachas, all of them, they completely polluted the sacrifice, and because of which it was not possible to continue. So they needed to purify it, and the purification is being done by Purodash offering to Lord Vishnu, like that. So the Acharyas have commented over here that how Lord Vishnu's worship will make everything very, very pure. By worshipping Lord Vishnu, everything becomes very pure. So Prabhupada is especially bringing out the aspect of worshipping the Lord by chanting the holy names. So even if sometimes we may not have very pure ingredients, like first class pure ingredients, we may have ingredients which are, we have tried our best to procure from the best sources, like that, but still they may not be very pure or like that. So Prabhupada is invoking that point that, if you chant the holy names of the Lord, then everything becomes purified. Sarvam karoti nischidram. It is said that the Nama Sankirtana, the holy name of the Lord, makes everything free from all the doshas, free from all the faults. So that's why in Kali Yuga, the yajnas, the rituals are always to be coupled with the chanting of the holy names. Prabhupada was undergoing his sannyas ceremony, and there was a yajna being performed in Prabhupada's sannyas ceremony. So, whenever the yajna is being performed, the priests would, loudly chant, right? All the mantras and all that, whatever maybe, different mantras, Purush Suktas and all that, like that, so that sound will become very large. And then Prabhupada would look at the devotees who were doing Sankirtan and say this, Prabhupada would hint at them. Prabhupada was hinting at them, So then the Sankirtan devotees, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So they are chanting very loudly like that. Then priest would say, you reduce the volume like that. So then, okay, they have to listen to priest, right? So then they reduce the volume. Then Prabhupada would say, again, so this went back and forth in Prabhupada's sannyas yajna, like that. So Prabhupada knew that this is the process of the Kali Yuga, right? You are doing all those yajnas and all that, that is there, but sometimes there are so many faults by the priest himself. Chanting, there may be so many faults in chanting, right? Like that. Even the best of priests sometimes, from South India, we note that there are some faults in the pronunciation. It's not correct, that. So that's why the holy name, like that. Shukracharya says also this in 8th canto, when Lord Vamana appeared in front of him, and then Vamana, after the whole incident, that pastime of capturing Bali, then Shukracharya finally understands that actually by Lord's mercy everything is perfect here, so then he says, in fact, Shukracharya himself says that, Lord, whatever doshas are there, whatever faults are there in any process, if they chant your holy names, all those faults are taken away. Sarvam karoti nishchidram. He says that everything becomes completely perfect by chanting of the holy names. So Srila Jiva Goswami also in his explanation of this verse, Yajnai Sankirtana Prayer Yajanti Hi Sumedhasaha. Right? This is a popular verse from the 11th canto, which says, Krishna Varnam Tvisha Krishnam Sango Pangastra Parshadam Yajnai Sankirtana Prayer Yajanti Hi Sumedhasaha. So he says that, the verse says there, Karbhajan is telling there, that in Kali Yuga, the most intelligent beings will worship the Lord with Sankirtana Yajna, like that. Yajnai Sankirtana prayer. And in the explanation of this verse, Srila Jiva Goswami says that if you are performing Sankirtan Yajna in Kali Yuga, does it mean that the fire Yajna, the normal Yajna, it is just not performed in Kali Yuga? There is no place for performing? Is it so? So he says, no, it's not like that. The fire yajnas can also be performed, but all sorts of yajnas, including fire yajnas, they have to be accompanied primarily with the chanting of holy names. So that should go on, chanting of the holy name. That's the meaning of Yajna Sankirtana Prayer. You can have a yajna, but it is Sankirtana Praya. It is almost Sankirtana. The word Sankirtana Praya means it is practically Sankirtana, like that. So you may have Yajna, Swaha, Swaha and all that, that's fine, it's good. But it has to be coupled always with Sankirtana. That's especially in the Kali Yuga, the process is like that. Because this is the process where chanting of the holy names will free all the things from any doshas. Shri Shri Prahlad Lakshmi Narasimhadev Bhagavan Ki Jai. This way. So that's what is the concept here also, because it is from a different yuga. So by offering Purodash offerings, what they are doing is they are taking the shelter of Lord Vishnu's holy names, mantras glorifying Lord Vishnu, and that way it is all becoming perfect. It's all taking away all the dosha, like that. So any kind of rituals we do, any kind of samskaras we do in Kali Yuga, all the different Dashavid samskaras, anything, it is coupled with the chanting of the holy names. That's how. So this is called as the combination of Bhagavat Vidhi and Pancharatrika Vidhi. So, that Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, for his Gaudiya Math, on one hand he had two symbols. One symbol was the bell that we use in the deity worship, ding, 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 ding. And another symbol was the Bhagavatam. So Bhagavatam was showing the Bhagavat Vidhi and bell was showing the Pancharatrika Vidhi. So it's a combination of both, like that. So that's our, especially in Gaudiya Vaishnava Siddhanta, this is how we follow both Bhagavat Vidhi and Pancharatrika Vidhi also. And the focus is a lot on the the Bhagavat Vidhi, on the chanting, singing the holy names, hearing the holy names, and also Smaranam, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam. That's a major focus in our Sampradaya, coupled with the Pancharatrika aspects as and when they are necessary, this way. So that is the point. So Prabhupada then further talks also about the aspect of cleanliness. He says that the priest who takes care of the Archana Vidhi must be very clean. So Prabhupada spoke, whenever it came to deity worship, Prabhupada spoke about two aspects, very, he was very specific. Two aspects about deity worship. What are they? One is yes, exactly, cleanliness and punctuality. Being very clean and also being very punctual. So especially when it comes to the deity service, these two aspects are very much stressed, being very clean and being very, very punctual. There is this popular verse in Bhagavad Gita, Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam yo me bhaktya prayachati tadham bhakti uparitam ashnami prayatatmanah. So if you see this verse, I'm sure some of you know this by heart. Patram pushpam phalam toyam yo me bhaktya, bhaktya prayachati, meaning by devotional service or by devotion. Then next line is tadaham bhakti uparitam. Again it comes the item or the thing which is offered with bhakti. And finally says prayatatmanah. Prayatatmanah means a purified soul. So you can see bhakti appears to be redundant here. Bhaktya in the first line also, and then again bhakti uparitam. So Vishwanath Chakravarti has given a very beautiful commentary. 3 words, bhaktya, bhakti uparitam and prayatatmana. These 3, if you see, if you study the analytically text, all 3 appear to be similar in the meaning. Bhakti, bhakti, bhakti. So is Lord Krishna repeating is it a punarukti? Is it he being redundant by saying, one who offers to me anything which is love, anything which is offered with love and devotion, and then again by bhakti, by love and devotion. So actually 3 words mean 3 different things. Very nice commentary Vishwanath Chakravarti writes. So when it is said that anybody who offers me a leaf, a flower or water with devotion, so he says the first word bhaktya means the person has to be practicing devotee. It's not like some non-devotee is there and suddenly he says, oh, today I am feeling great devotion, so I offer Lord Krishna. And Lord Krishna says, oh, he is offering with devotion, please let me accept. So first and foremost, Vishwanath Chakravarti says is one has to practice bhakti actively. It's not just some incidental bhakti or something like that. Suddenly I feel today bhakti, tomorrow I don't feel bhakti. Not like that. You have to be a practitioner of that path. So that's the first bhaktya in that verse. Then second bhakti uparitam is, although you are a practitioner of bhakti, when you are doing the offering, that time also you should have bhakti. Right? See, we may be practitioners of bhakti, but when a certain service needs to be done, if we do it with this consciousness that, I don't know how he catches me every time, manager, temple manager or in charge. How, I don't know what karma I have done, every time he catches me only. Why the other devotee is not catching someone else for doing that seva? So sometimes that kind of feeling may be there if one is not in proper consciousness, that why me? Instead of saying, why not me actually? Why me? That kind of thing. So if you do something with a great reluctance, thinking that actually why I have to do this, or maybe I have to do this, what to do? They'll not give me prasadam. I have to do this. I am in temple, so what to do? I have to do this. So that kind of attitude, so if it is there, that's not actually offering with devotion. So the second bhakti uparitam in that verse is talking about not only you generally practice bhakti, but when you are offering, that time also you have bhakti consciousness, like that. Not like, okay, I am just a chanter, 16-rounder, but then what about when you are offering certain particular thing, a particular seva, do you have good consciousness, or are you doing it like, why the hell me, why am I being pushed for do? So that is the second aspect. You should not only be a practicing devotee regularly, but you should also have love and devotion at that point of time when you are offering. And the third aspect, prayatatmanaha, refers to not only you should have the aspect of bhakti, you should also have the practicing bhakti, but you should also be pure and follow the standard of offering. Prayatatmanaha. Meaning, I may be a devotee who is a 16-rounder, and I am also trying to offer it with love and devotion. But can I offer it without taking any bath or something? I can't do that. I have to also follow the rules of the Pancharatra Vidhi, the Archana Vidhi. I can't just wake up from sleep and go on the altar and offer something and say that, well, I have devotion. No, it doesn't work that way. So especially in the Vaidhi Bhakti, the aspect is that you also prayatatmanaha means shuchi, the cleanliness aspect. So one also offers with all the proper standards, cleanliness, mantras, as much as possible. I'm not saying one will be just 100% perfect, but the point is, as much the standards are expected, one tries, best to follow like that. So in this way, it's a complete package, and then Krishna says, Ashnami prayatatmana, and then I accept that offering, this way. So if we are not having the aspect of devotion, or if somebody is not practicing devotion, or if we don't follow the proper standard, Krishna is not bound to accept it. He may still accept out of his merciful nature, but it's not that he has to accept. He is not bound to accept, such an offering this way. So that's why that aspect of cleanliness is very, very important. Prayatatmanaha, the shuchi. In general, so that's why you can see that our standard is there, like Prabhupada, the way he gave us the standard, right? It's not like anybody can get into altar and worship, right? Sometimes in other places, if you just offer some money or like that, well, you can also enter into the altar by offering some money, this way. You can do anything. I want to worship the Lord. Okay, you come. How much money I need? You give this much money, come in. In other places I have seen in the sense, other temples and all that. No, but Prabhupada kept a standard, second initiated devotees, who have been practicing from a certain amount of time, very serious devotees who know the standards of cleanliness. We follow that, right? One time it so happened that one of the very, very big political leaders came in one of the temples that I was staying. And then he came 45 minutes after the deities were put to rest, in the noon. So already the deities are resting now. And then he said, I have come and can I have darshan? So then, no, now the altar is closed, right? Now the next darshan is only after 2 hours or like that. So especially because the deities were put to rest. So he was saying, see, so you can open it, no? I mean, I am a big politician. Wherever I go, they open, the temple like that. So he's saying that to the temple manager, saying that you can open. I have never seen, I go somewhere and they don't open the temple. No, but he said, see, I mean, if it was just 5-10 minutes after the altar closing, when Lord had still not taken rest, it was okay. But now because he's already taking rest, so we can't open the darshan now, like that. So like he was surprised, that. But then he was a humble soul. Then he waited for 2 hours, and then after 2 hours the darshan opened, and then. So later then he was sharing that actually the whole incident made me quite humble. He said that I am not a big person. This is the biggest person. The Supreme Lord is the big person. This way. So later he became quite favorable for Krishna consciousness. That particular person. So yeah, I mean that's the point. That we have a certain standard, and if you are not up to that standard, then we don't give access to that kind of intimate service to the Supreme Lord, like that. So there's a standard that should be maintained. So in that context also Prabhupada is speaking about seva paradhas, right? There are many seva paradhas, and 32 seva paradhas are mentioned in Nectar of Devotion, like that. So especially seva paradhas are pertaining to the deity service, that we render to the deities. And how do we get rid of seva paradhas? Vishwanath Chakravarti explains 3 points by which we can get rid of seva paradhas. He explains this in Madhurya Kadambini. So first is namabhi. He says by chanting the holy names and praying to the Lord, you get rid of the seva paradhas. Second, he says that tat karma stotra pathaihi. He says that there are some specific stotras, specific prayers that are meant, whenever we offend the deities, or whenever some sort of seva aparadh happens, so there are some specific stotras that we should sing, So as pujaris, they are recommended to learn those specific stotras. Stotras means prayers, specific prayers, like aparadh shodhan mantras, which means the prayers to get rid of aparadhas, and they should be recited like that. And the third thing he says is by seva satatyam, and by continuing to render the service. This is the third aspect. You get rid of seva aparadhas by continuing to render the service. So you don't give up the service, you chant the holy names, and you also chant the specific prayers. This way, he says, one can get rid of the seva aparadhas. Various. So, like we used to also, I was also rendering 5-6 years, service in DT department. So, for the various seva aparadhas, very beautiful prayers are there. So, at the end of the service, we offer always those prayers, seeking the forgiveness, and also requesting Lord to allow us to continue the service, seva satatya, like that. So that way, then we can take care of these offenses which are there. But still, one should not think like, because I can sing these prayers and all the offenses can be forgiven, so I can go on continuing the offenses. So then that turns into namaparad. First it was seva aparad, but if we are very casual and we think, oh, anyway, I am chanting those prayers, no problem, then it turns into namaparad, and then it is deadly. More than seva aparad, namaparad are very deadly. They have their own effects, like that. So they cause anarthas. So that's the thing. So that's why one should be careful about that aspect. So in this way, Prabhupada is touching these various themes here. Today also happens to be a very great holy day, disappearance day of Shri Raghunath Das Goswami, Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, and also Krishna Das Kaviraj. So I will also like to just touch few qualities of these great souls, and then we can stop for today. Raghunath Das Goswami. So Raghunath Das Goswami is a great acharya, one of the 6 Goswamis, and Raghunath Das Goswami, he was born to Govardhan Mujumdar. He was born in the region of Bengal, Saptagram. He was born to this great devotee called Govardhan Mujumdar, who was also a very wealthy person, a very, very wealthy. Those days, he earned, his yearly income was like 20 lakh rupees. So like Prabhupada says, in today's times, he was a billionaire. So Govardhan Mujumdar was a billionaire, and Raghunath Das Goswami, Raghunath, was his only son. So Govardhan Mujumdar also had a brother, Hiranya Mujumdar. So both of them were very wealthy, and they were basically paying some taxes to this Nawab Hussain Shah. So when Raghunath Das Goswami once got association of Haridas Thakur, you can imagine. See, Hiranya Mujumdar and Govardhan Mujumdar were a little bit careful that this Raghunath should not get association of renounced class, because you can see he was son of a billionaire. So they were fearful. Sometimes people are fearful of the renounced class, right? They think that, okay, if somebody comes in their association like that, then they will also be turned into like that. So even sometimes in temples and all that, if there are kids and if some young boy is becoming more interested to talk to brahmacharis and all that, then the parents are alarmed. They say, see, you should not talk to them so much. You should stay away from them like that. You should practice bhakti in a normal way like that. Sometimes, out of immaturity it may happen. So the point is, when Raghunath took association of Haridas Thakur, then he developed naturally a great taste for Vairagya, and also he got to know the glory of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So he was trying to give up his household life. He had a very beautiful wife and such great wealth, and still he wanted to leave everything and join Lord Chaitanya's movement. So then, because he was like this, so he always was trying to run away from the house, trying to join Lord Chaitanya. So the wife of Govardhan Mujumdar, meaning the mother of Raghunath, she said to her husband that we should tie this person. He is always running away. So we should tie him with ropes. So then Govardhan Majumdar said, see, the rope of a billionaire's wealth and such a beautiful wife, these ropes cannot tie him, and you think that an ordinary rope will tie him like that. He said that, see, this person has been blessed by Lord Chaitanya, so his material life is finished. He said like that. Because he is blessed by Lord Chaitanya, his material life is finished. So he said, we will not be able to hold him off. And then very true, one day after getting the mercy of Lord Nityananda Prabhu, Raghunath Das Goswami was able to join Lord Chaitanya. It's a very famous episode where Nityananda Prabhu, he got the mercy of Nityananda Prabhu at Panihati, right? Panihati festival, Raghunath Das Goswami understood that unless and until I get mercy of Nityananda, I will not be able to get mercy of Lord Chaitanya. So he went to get mercy of Lord Nityananda in Panihati, and then he was offering obeisances from a distance, and then Nityananda Prabhu said, hey, you are a thief, chor hai tum. You are a thief. Like a thief you are offering obeisances from a distance. He said, come here, come close to me, like that. And then he brought him close to him, and then Lord Nityananda placed his lotus feet on his head, on the head of Raghunath. And then all the devotees became very ecstatic that Lord Nityananda is blessing. And then he said that because you are a thief, I punish you. You should feed all these Vaishnavas with Chida Dahi. So that's the first Chida Dahi festival, Panihati, like that. So, that's a description there, how they enjoyed the Chida Dahi. Just so many devotees. There was not enough place to stay, so they enough place to stand or sit, so they went into river and stood there and ate this Chida Dahi, standing in the river, like that. So after that incident, then we see Raghunath Das Goswami got the mercy of Lord Nityananda, and then eventually, by Lord Chaitanya's blessings, he could give up his household life and join Lord Chaitanya in his moment. So Lord Chaitanya then asked him to go to Vrindavan and stay with the association of Rup, Sanatan and all of them. So especially Raghunath Das Goswami, he chose Radhakund as his place of residence. So Raghunath Das Goswami was so renounced actually. He became an emblem of renunciation. See, this is not some dry renunciation, but renunciation for serving Lord Chaitanya. Renunciation in devotional service. See, we don't so much encourage the Shushka Vairagya, meaning the dry renunciation. But we encourage the renunciation for the sake of Lord's service, for the sake of pleasure of Lord Chaitanya. In fact, Lord Chaitanya came for that purpose also. Vairagya Vidya Nija Bhakti Yoga, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya glorifies him, that Lord Chaitanya came to teach the aspect of the renunciation for bhakti and also the vidya, the transcendental knowledge for bhakti. This way. So Raghunath Das Goswami was so renounced, he didn't build any kutir also for him. And he used to just sit on the bank of Radhakund and chant, And those days Radhakund was not like now, if you have been to Radhakund, right? Very crowded place and, so many people. Those days there were, wild animals all around Radhakund. So one day Sanatana Goswami saw that Raghunath Das Goswami chanting Hare Krishna, very peacefully. And then two tigers are there, one tiger and tigress. And then Sanatana Goswami saw that, my God, ferocious tiger and tigress. And then he saw that next to Raghunath Das Goswami, a cowherd boy is standing there with the stick, to protect Raghunath from the tigers, like that. And when Sanatana Goswami saw that, he saw that it is none other than Lord Krishna. Lord Krishna was standing there as, becoming the protector, the guard for Raghunath Das Goswami, So then Sanatana Goswami was not happy with it. So when later Sanatana Goswami met Raghunath, he said that, what is this? We are supposed to serve Lord Krishna and you are making him serve? So you please build a kutir. I am telling you, you please build a kutir. See, because you don't have kutir, so Lord Krishna came. And so then Raghunath Das Goswami understood, but then he thought, no, I understand his point, but yeah, I'll not build a kutir. So he, again, without kutir only, he continued his bhajan. So then at one point of time, it was very hot summer at Radhakund, and then in that summer he was sitting and at the bank of Radhakund, and he was chanting again, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Like, so sun was so scorching hot, that Sanatana Goswami came and saw that in this scorching sun, this person is, chanting there, sitting. And there is one very beautiful girl. She is covering his head, Raghunath Das Goswami's head, with her end of her sari, pallu. So she was covering, so that's to protect him from the sun, like that. And Sanatana Goswami saw that she is none other than Radhika, Srimati Radharani. She is covering him, by the end of her sari, because that's her beloved devotee. Raghunath is her very dear devotee, like that. And Radharani herself was like drenched with all sweat because of the scorching sun, She's like becoming, so all the sweats are falling from her head, and she's like, and then she's trying to serve Raghunath. And then Sanatana Goswami, he's seeing this scene. So Sanatana Goswami was like, too much now. He went to Raghunath Das Goswami and he said, you have to build a kutir. You cannot have Srimati Radharani serve you like this, that way. So when he chastised Raghunath, then Raghunath said, okay, I'll build a kutir, all right. So then Raghunath Goswami built a kutir, and then he was doing his bhajan this way. So Raghunath Das Goswami is like very dear devotee of Srimati Radharani and Vrindavan Chandra, Krishna, like that. So in spiritual world, he is Rasa Manjari, or Rasa Manjari sometimes, also known as Raga Manjari. This is Raghunath Das Goswami, and he has also given very beautiful books glorifying Srimati Radharani, and also pastimes like Dana Keli, the pastime of Krishna collecting the taxes from the gopis. So he wrote beautiful books. So that is Raghunath Das Goswami. Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, he came from Varanasi. He was born to Tapan Mishra, a great devotee of Lord Chaitanya. And he was born to Tapan Mishra. So right from childhood, he was very much attracted to Lord Chaitanya because he heard from his father the glories of Lord Chaitanya, glories of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So especially when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to Varanasi, Banaras, so Raghunath Bhatta Goswami was just 9 years old, and he got the opportunity to serve Lord Chaitanya. So he became so attracted to Lord Chaitanya that he just wanted to leave his parents and then go and join Lord Chaitanya's movement. But then Lord Chaitanya stopped him, and Lord Chaitanya said to him that you should stay because you are the only son, so you should stay as long as your parents are living in this world, and after their departure, then you can come and join, join me, like that. But he also asked him not to get married. So he said that you just serve your parents, and once parents depart, then you come and, then you can come to me, like that. So Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, Lord Chaitanya also instructed him to be a scholar and a teacher of Bhagavatam. So Raghunath Bhatta Goswami was a very well-known scholar of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Very complicated verses of Bhagavatam also, he could chant in 4 or 5 different ways. Sometimes like some complicated verse of Bhagavatam, we are not able to chant only, but he would chant in 4 or 5 different ways. He was like that expert. So he was expert in 3 things. Cooking, he was a super cook, Raghunath Bhatta Goswami. Then he was also very expert in singing, and third, he was expert in Bhagavat recitation. He was a very classic reciter of Bhagavatam. So these 3 things, like he became practically for all the devotees a trainer of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, and very beautiful explanations of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, like that. So after his father departed, then Lord Chaitanya asked him also to join the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan. So that's how Raghunath Bhatta also came to Vrindavan, and then joined all the 6 Goswamis. So Raghunath Bhatta Goswami is also like very exalted Acharya. he is the only one who does not have any books left behind him, in the sense he was like so humble that he didn't write anything, although he was most qualified. No, Raghunath Bhatta hasn't, he hasn't written anything. So otherwise all other Goswamis also have some literature and all that, but he was very exceptionally qualified, but still out of his humility he didn't write anything. Raghunath Bhatta Goswami. So that is Raghunath Bhatta Goswami. And finally Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami, we know that because of his mercy only we have Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. So it's an example of empowerment by the Lord, although he was so old and considered himself to be so unqualified, but we see that how he could complete Chaitanya Charitamrita even at such an advanced age, just by the mercy of Vaishnavas and mercy of the devotees. So these are all great acharyas, and we seek their blessings on this day, so that we can also develop the drop of their qualities. Hare Krishna. Granthra Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Yes, any questions or comments? Yes, bro. Yeah.
Haribol? Yes. And there's one purport in the Bhagavatam where Prabhupada makes this statement that the worship of Radha Krishna is performed through Bhagavata Vidhi. Can you explain this?
Yeah, yes. So, actually, if you see the Pancharatrika Vidhi is especially the Vidhi of Vaidhi Bhakti. Pancharatriki is Vaidhi Bhakti's Vidhi. Vaidhi Bhakti means you always have this understanding that Lord is Supreme Lord, You remember that aspect that He is Supreme Lord, He is the master of the whole universe, and, always remembering that aspect of He being the Supreme Lord, Parabrahman, controller of everything. So that is the characteristic of Vaidhi Bhakti, Aishwarya Jnana. The aspect of Aishwarya, Lord being Ishvara. Remembering that aspect always. And in that mode, if you want to worship the Lord, then Pancharatrika Vidhi is there. So you worship the Lord by Pancharatrika Vidhi. Now when it comes to Radha Krishna worship, we see that Radha Krishna worship, the real actual standard of Radha Krishna worship is with the aspect of Raganuga. Raganuga Bhakti, where that kind of Aishwarya bhav towards Krishna goes away. One cultivates the Madhurya aspect towards Krishna, like that. And the Raganuga has this, aspect of especially focus on Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam. So when we say Bhagavat Vidhi, it focuses on these three aspects. Shravanam, Kirtanam and Smaranam. So this is the Bhagavat Vidhi. So actually, Radha Krishna worship, you can also worship them with Aishwarya, like they do in India, or some sampradayas also worship them in Aishwarya. But the way Lord Chaitanya taught us to worship Shri Radha Krishna, Lord Chaitanya came to give that Raganuga Bhakti. That's mentioned in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Raga Bhakti Prachar. Lord Chaitanya said that, whole world is just talking about Aishwarya Bhakti. So now let me distribute the Raga Bhakti. For that he came, like that. So the aspect of that particular worship is the Bhagavat Vidhi. You use this Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam. These are the main limbs of Bhagavat Vidhi. And by this Bhagavat Vidhi, one can worship worship Shri Radha Krishna in a way that Lord Chaitanya wanted us to worship. In a way that Lord Chaitanya came to give us that kind of worship. So that's what. So that is the point over there. Usually the Aishwarya aspect is there for worship of Shri Lakshmi Narayan, or Sita Ram, or Lakshmi Narasimha, or like all those aspects. So what Prabhupada did was, Prabhupada, although he gave us the Pancharatrika Vidhi, that particular aspect, so we worship Shri Radha Krishna also with the Pancharatrika Vidhi aspect. Point is, with that, but the point is that as we progress in bhakti, the focus of this aspect of Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam, that becomes a very prominent, So that's the prominent Bhagavat Vidhi, this way. And then as we go ahead in bhakti, so even the aspect of Pancharatrik Vidhi we may perform, but it is primarily performed completely out of great, spontaneous attachment to serve the Lord, and also by this particular aspect that we are worshipping Radha Krishna in the way that Lord Chaitanya has taught us to worship, this way. So my point is, although Prabhupada established Pancharatrika Vidhi, the actual standard that Lord Chaitanya gives of worshipping Shri Radha Krishna is the Bhagavat Vidhi, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam, and that's how the Raganuga Bhakti also springs forth this way. So that's the point that Prabhupada is mentioning there. Makes sense?
Thank you.
Okay. Yes, Prabhu.
Maybe not so relevant, but since we talked about the Chaitanya Charitamrita at the end, according to our tradition, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is the most important as far as I understood.
Absolutely.
And still it is said that Chaitanya Charitamrita is like, often the example we're given, if you're on the boat and the last thing you should keep is the Chaitanya Charitamrita. So Bhagavad Gita, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. So my question is it because it includes all the essence verses of the Bhagavatam? That what makes it more important, so to say?
Yeah. Yes, Prabhu. Okay.
If I may just say something, my confusion is because Prabhupada stopped at one point after the third canto, I think, fourth canto. He stopped Bhagavatam, which was his life and soul mission, and translated the whole Chaitanya Charitamrita, and then went back to the Bhagavatam.
Okay, yeah, that's right. Okay. So, see, when it comes to scriptures, whenever a statement is made like this is the highest scripture or this is the best scripture, it is always made with a context. Like if you see, Shankaracharya says in Gita Mahatmya, he says, Gita sugita kartavya kimanya shastra vistare ya swayam padmanabhasya mukha padmat vinisrita. He says, if you have Gita, what is the need of any other scripture? You don't need any other scripture. So then we settle at Gita, and you don't need any other scripture. Then you come to Bhagavatam, second verse of Bhagavatam, Śrīmad-Bhāgavate Mahamuni Krite Kim va parai. If you have Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, what is the need of any other scripture? You come to that, right? Then as you mentioned, you go to Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, and if everything is to be dropped, you are on a boat and you need to carry something, carry Chaitanya Charitamrita, like that. So what is happening here? See, there is a context in which you talk about, a scripture's superior position. So, as far as Bhagavad Gita is concerned, if you talk about any scripture discussing Upanishads or the topics of Upanishads, there are three topics of Upanishads: Jiva, living entity; Jagat, the material world; and Jagadish, the Supreme Lord. So if you see the scriptures discussing these three topics, they are known as Tattvatraya. So among scriptures which are discussing the three topics of Upanishads, if you have Bhagavad Gita, it's enough. You don't need anything else. That's it. You have Bhagavad Gita, you don't need even Upanishads. Fine. Because it does full justice with these three topics: Jeev, Jagat, Jagadish, like that. But is that Bhagavad Gita talking anything about rasa? Aspect of rasa, or aspect of, the pastimes of the Supreme Lord? Are there any pastimes in Bhagavad Gita? Are there pastimes like 10th canto? I meant to say, the details.
Rasa, for example, Arjuna says, I was sitting with him on the same bed and we were enjoying the same food and I was choking him.
No. See, the point is that some here there hint of rasa is one thing, and the whole rasa shastra, rasa vichar, the details, are they there? They are not there. Vishwan Chakravarti himself says, that they are not there. So you may have some hints of, some rasa over there, but it's not like it's a shastra explaining the details of rasa. So if you want to know the rasa shastra and details of Krishna's rasa, how does he reciprocate, you have to come to Bhagavatam. There is no choice, but you have to come to Bhagavatam, and then Bhagavatam explains all those aspects, even the leelas quite in great detail. And Bhagavatam has been established as the highest scripture by our Sampradaya. So, which scripture is the highest? Bhagavatam is the highest, as per Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya, very clearly. Sarva Pramana Chakravarti Bhutam, Jiva Goswami says. If you consider all other Pramanas as kings, Bhagavatam is emperor. Sarva Praman Chakravarti. Emperor is king of the emperors also, right? Emperor is king of the kings. So similarly, he says Bhagavatam is the highest Praman, that way. So now, for Gaudiya Vaishnavas specifically, for Gaudiyas, the Chaitanya Charitamrita is basically demonstration of Bhagavatam, The principles which are mentioned in Bhagavatam, how a Vaishnava should be, that all gets demonstrated through the life of Lord Chaitanya, So it's actually extended Bhagavatam, Yeah, it's like a commentary of Bhagavatam. It's like a practical Bhagavatam, you see. So, the Bhagavad Gita is like fundamentals of Bhagavatam, and Chaitanya Charitamrita is like extension, or it's like commentary of Bhagavatam, So, it's all Bhagavatam, actually. Bhagavatam is considered the highest scripture. So, the point is that we understand that the principles mentioned in Bhagavatam, they are only being delineated, they are being shown, the life of a Vaishnava is being shown. Prabhupada said, no, it's a PhD subject matter because it is showing you how to be a Bhagavata. Bhagavatam is explaining you, and then Lord Chaitanya is showing you how to be a first class Bhagavata, and his devotees also. So that's how it is an extension of Bhagavatam only, So we will always say Bhagavatam is the highest scripture for this reason, that whenever we talk about scriptures, we should talk about scriptures given by Vyasadeva, So, Vyasadeva gives the scriptures, and they are known as Arsha Praman, or they are known as Shruti Smriti Nyaya. So, when you quote, which is the highest scripture? So, you will have to quote from Shruti Smriti Nyaya. Chaitanya Charitamrita is certainly a very great scripture, but it is a scripture specific to Gaudiyas. If you quote Chaitanya Charitamrita to Sri Sampradaya, they will say, which scripture is this? What is this scripture, Chaitanya Charitamrita? We never heard of it, that way. So they will accept Bhagavatam, but everyone will accept Bhagavatam. So that's how, when you talk about Pramana, Pramana has to come from the original Vedic Pramanas, that way. So although Chaitanya Charitamrita is most revered, we will worship that book, but as far as the Pramana, that's why Jiva Goswami used the word Sarva Pramana Chakravarti. The best, highest scripture is Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, no doubt about it. So that's the understanding. Chaitanya Charitamrita is written by Krishna Das, no?
Yeah, but you can say that it's not a scripture from Vyasadeva.
It's not a scripture from Vyasadeva. We will not say like that it's a scripture from Vyasadeva. See, that's what. This is the topic of Sri Tattva Sandarbha. You have to understand, there are different category of scriptures, So the scriptures like Bhagavatam or Gita, they are all known as Vaidika Pramanas. They are all known as Arsha Praman, the books given by the Rishi. Chaitanya Charitamrita comes in a different category called Prakaran Grantha. There is a different category. Within the Shastra, there is Shruti, Smriti, Nyaya, Prakaran Grantha. So Prakaran Granthas are the scriptures which have the same Siddhanta mentioned in the Shastras, but they are written by the later personalities and acharyas. You will not put them into the category of Arsha Praman, like that. So they are equally authoritative, but that authority may be within the Sampradaya. Like Chaitanya Charitamrita, you can quote within Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya, but if you try to quote it outside of Gaudiya, they will say to you, come on, you guys are fanatic. You should speak on the basis of Arsha Pramanas. So Arsha Praman is just universally accepted. That's the point. That's how it is different. So we will not say that it is given by Vyasadeva. No, not at all.
That's very
Yes.
nice explanations. Thank you.
Yeah.
Regarding this point, my question is Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami considered as a Vyasadeva in Chaitanya
No.
Leela?
Yeah, in Chaitanya Leela, Vyasa, he is considered as Vyasa. The personality is Vrindavan Das Thakur. He is considered as Vyasa. One who wrote the Chaitanya, what's the other one? Chaitanya Bhagavata. Yeah. And that is not like Vyasadeva came as Vrindavan Das or like that. That is basically, if you want to consider the Vyasa of Chaitanya Leela, because he wrote it so well, so that's why he is considered like Vyasadeva of Chaitanya Leela. Understand? It's not like Vyasadeva came as him. He's considered Vyasadeva. It's a figurative explanation that way.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Krishna, this point actually in Chaitanya Bhagavat, Vrindavan Das Thakur, he says later on Vyasadeva will appear and will explain it even more. So we could understand that he points to Krishna Das Kaviraj as Vyasadeva, although Krishna Das Kaviraj points to Vrindavan Das Thakur as Vyasadeva. So there's like a...
Yeah, it's basically like just as Vyasadeva wrote all the scriptures, so they're glorifying each other as, somebody who is doing the same thing for Chaitanya Leela.
Yeah.
Right? Like that.
Yeah.
But Gaur Ganodesh Deepika doesn't identify them as Vyasas.
No.
That's the point. They are not identified as Vyasas. Yes, Prabhu. Okay, yeah.
I had just of this question of Kripa Sindhu Prabhu previously. There is Prabhupada makes a statement in the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, and this is also referred in the Pancharadika Dipita by Krishna Kshetra Swami, that deity worship is actually, or the Pancharadika rules are more for ourselves.
Yeah.
When we do Bhagavad Vidhi, then we worship, of course, Radha and Krishna on the altar, but Pancharadika Vidhi is more aiming on us to be purified, because Prabhupada says, because having a material body, we collecting dirty, we become
Absolutely.
dirty, so and therefore we have to follow these rules and regulations to purify ourselves, and then we can do pure Bhagavad Vidhi.
Yeah, so that's right. Those two are the tracks. That's why both the tracks should be there.
Yeah.
They're there, The Prabhupada always gave example. Prabhupada gave example of two tracks. So one track is Pancharatrika, another track is Bhagavatam. Like Bhaktisiddhanta also, I said he had both on his emblem, on his sign. One side was the bell, another side was the Bhagavatam. So it's like that. Both the vidhis are there. This way. So especially for the aspect of purification, all the mantras like Gayatri mantra and all of them. Jiva Goswami says that they are very important for anartha nivrutti. The Pancharatrika mantra chanting and the chanting of Gayatri and the rules and regulations. And then you have the Bhagavad Vidhi, which is the actual Vidhi of worshipping Shri Shri Radha Krishna. So that's how we combine these two aspects. Like that.
And when you said earlier about this left-hand tantric, this actually, but it's bona fide.
Yeah, it is bona fide.
It's bona fide, but what we see nowadays, all this magic and what is, what's coming there, witchcraft and black magic, and what even black magic in some sense is supported by Tantra scriptures.
Yeah.
But what they do nowadays without knowledge, because as you explained, the ones who doing this kind of rituals, they are very expert, and if you look at tantrics, they follow regulative principles we even cannot think of.
But they do also very horrible things, which are mentioned in the Shastra.
Sure, but it's based on scriptures. But what they do nowadays, all this magic and stuff, this is doing this without knowledge, and then it's complete speculation, and mostly because you're attracting ghosts, you're attracting spirits, and most of the spirits, they coming back to the one who try to, implement them or do them. So it's actually very dangerous to do this without the proper understanding and just to speculate.
Yeah. See, the left-hand tantra itself is something which is highly, it's like very obnoxious. I'm saying the proper shastric left-hand tantra, that is something which is not recommended actually. It's quite aghori. What is in Shastra? So that itself is very obnoxious. So what to speak of then? The distortion of that. It's like it can reach to heights of, heights or whatever, depths of degradation. The left-hand tantra itself, although it comes in the scripture, but it is a very horrible thing, and it is not for those who are in mode of goodness. It is for tamasic people actually, left-hand tantra. So that's why, even though somebody is following that scripture, but the point is the scripture is meant for tamoguni people. It is not meant for sattvaguni. That scripture of left-hand tantra, that is meant for tamoguni, meaning people who are in mode of ignorance. So even if one follows that scripture perfectly fine, but still it is very abominable. Then what to speak of somebody, distorting it and making black magic and voodoo and this, that, all that stuff. That will be even more horrible. That is like full speculation, this way. So the right-hand tantra, Dakshin tantra itself condemns the left-hand tantra so much. It will say that, those who can't worship Lord Shiva with these pure methods, those unfortunate souls take to the left-hand tantra. Like that, the right tantra that self will condemn the left-hand tantra. And then what to speak of distortions and speculation? It just becomes deadly, very horrible. That's the thing. Like that. So something is mentioned in scripture, but that doesn't mean it's very recommended or it is very nice. Yeah, it can give some gradual purification. But although it is mentioned in scripture, we have to also see for whom it is mentioned. If it is mentioned for the tamasic people, it will be very deadly, right? Like for Devi, you can offer 5 M's, Kali, you can offer Meena, you can offer Mamsa, you can offer Madira, like there are 5 M's you can offer. Now these are, like it's a scriptural quote that you can offer these things to Kali. But then it is horrible, right? It is abominable, Those who are Vaishnavas and all, they will not even touch these things that way. So it is meant for people who are in mode of ignorance. It's meant for them. And that's a way of gradually purifying them little by little. That's the point. Yeah. So we have to understand scripture is meant for whom. Yes, Akhila Prabhu, any comments?
You told that you said that worship of Radha Krishna is on, actually it should be on the Raganuga platform, but actually who is on that platform? And also Srila Prabhupada said that we should worship the deities on the platform of Lakshmi Narayan.
Lakshmi Narayan, yeah.
You know that, how to solve this contradiction?
Exactly, yeah. So the point is this only, that the aspect of worship of the deities, if we see, even though we are worshipping Radha Krishna, that worship Prabhupada recommended us. Prabhupada says in purports many places, that we worship them with the aspect of Pancharatra Vidhi, so which means that we worship them as Lakshmi Narayan. We have that kind of Aishwarya Bhava, for them. And then by this process of Vaidhi Bhakti, Prabhupada says that by this process of Vaidhi Bhakti, organically, naturally, one will come at a position where one develops the spontaneous attachment for the Supreme Lord, by this practice of Vaidhi Bhakti. That stage is called as Raganuga Bhakti. And that is the stage where one may be able to worship the Supreme Lord with that spontaneous devotion. So it's not that one imitates it or one tries to prematurely get into it. One continues to worship, and by this worship, Prabhupada says there comes a stage where one becomes free from the material contamination, and then one is able to develop that raga, that very spontaneous attachment for the Supreme Lord, like that. So that's the stage basically of Raganuga, which will come through this practice of the process which is given by Prabhupada, the process given by our Acharyas and Prabhupada, like that. So that's the point, Prabhu. So it's perfect that Prabhupada is telling us to worship them, because we are beginning not as Raganuga Bhaktas, we are beginning as Vaidhi Bhaktas proper. And then we proceed and we may be able to reach that stage of Raganuga, like that. Yes. All right, you should tell me when we should stop. Yeah.
We would never do this. What you said, it's completely right. but we would never do this in the temple. In the temple would be also, although we have Radha and Krishna, and the deity will be always worshipped as Lakshmi Narayan, because we set the example. What happens in his only bhajan, in his only private puja or something, there is, there may be one goes on the, whatever, but on the temple this will be always.
See, that's a different topic. How do we cultivate that aspect of Radha? We are not discussing that at all, right? We are discussing basically that, yes, as far as temple deity worship is concerned, it will always be Vaidhi Prabhu, because it is Pancharatrik, like that. So it will always be Vaidhi, Pancharatrik. So that's the point. Okay, we should stop here. Granthra Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you. Hare Krishna.